What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have another lovely video, man, from Santi D'Angelo. Lovely channel. And the title of today, it says, Stop Chasing Loyalty, Build Real Power. Makes a lot of sense to me. You know, loyalty, don't expect people to be loyal to you. People must be loyal within themselves to be loyal to you. That's the only way somebody will be loyal to you. If somebody cannot be loyal to themselves, they cannot be loyal to nobody else. But let's get into the video.
Do you really believe that your friends would stick by your side if you lost everything today? Not your looks, not your status, not your money, connections, or influence. I'm talking about losing everything that makes you useful and seeing who actually stays. The answer will hurt more than you think. We live in a world that idolizes loyalty, but trades everything on self-interest. You've been conditioned to believe that friendships are sustained by affection, history, or shared memories. That all you have to do is be a good person, be there in difficult times, and the rest will come as a reward. But that's a narrative sold by movies, books, and romantic coaches. The reality is colder and more powerful. People don't stay because of love. They stay because you serve a purpose. Want proof? Think about how many inseparable friends you've had who disappeared when you had nothing left to offer. Think about the times when you were down, invisible, with nothing to offer, and how many messages they got. This is the brutal rule of human relationships. Usefulness. This isn't about bitterness. This is about clarity. The most respected people in the world don't expect blind loyalty. They build networks based on exchanges of power, mutual value, and influence. While the weak wait for noble gestures, the strong learn to be indispensable. And being indispensable.
If you tied, so the loyalty is tied to how valuable you are to that person. Because if you're valuable to somebody, well, chances are they're gonna be loyal to you because they know I can get something that I need. I can get what I want from that person. So that's why you can link the loyalty to the value that you give to somebody and how valuable you are to that person.
Isn't luck, it's strategy. From an early age, you were trained to believe in social fairy tales. Phrases like "a friend is forever," "those who have friends have everything," or "true friendship is priceless" were repeated like mantras in movies, books, and even in schools. Hollywood taught you that friendships can withstand time, distance, and even the worst crises, all without demanding anything in return. But this romantic vision is not only false, it is dangerous, because the more you believe in it, the more vulnerable you become to the real dynamics of social power. Think about the series that have marked generations.
That's my thing, when it comes to friendships, you have to understand probably you giving more than the other person or the other people within the friend group. So you have to realize if I'm doing the most and nobody else not doing nothing, is it truly a friendship? Do they truly care about me the way I care about them? Right? So I don't measure what I do for people. If I do something 5 times for somebody, I don't say, well, you need to do it 5 times for me. I don't see it like that. It's genuine. If I do it for you 5 times, it's because I want to do it and I care for you. That's why I do it. I don't measure how much things I do and then I say you have to do the same for me. No. If we cool and we have a friendship, right? What I do is just out of the kindness of my heart, right? So that's how it should be, but in all actuality, it's not like that because people are very self-driven, self-centered. So that's why.
Friends, for example, sells the idea of an eternally united group where no one abandons anyone, where the unemployed, the lost, or the emotionally unstable are welcomed without judgment. But what no one tells you is that, outside of fiction, bonds that do not deliver value are quickly discarded. Permanence, in the real world, is not fueled by history. It is fueled by relevance. Psychology confirms this with brutal clarity. A little-known experiment called invisible utility revealed that by artificially diminishing a person's contribution within a group, the perception of their importance and affection also decreased, even among close friends. In other words, the less useful you seem to be, the less you are remembered, loved, and defended. The past doesn't matter. The present matters. The irony, this conditioning is intentional.
And understand being important is such a good thing because, you know, if you understand like how important you are and how important you could be to a certain set of people, well, they will truly never forget you. Because the reason why they cannot forget you or they will always remember you is because you're valuable. Because you did something that will be stuck within their memory, within their psyche for a long time. Especially if it's something that helped them move forward or help them in any way, that they will always remember you because you helped them in such a way that nobody else could. So that's why they will always remember you. So that's why you must always leave a mark on people when you're around them. Leave them with something that they could always remember about you. So no matter, it could be years from now, one day they can sit back and say, "Tell you what, this young lady did this for me, or this young man did that for me, and it changed my life. It changed my perspective. Right? It bettered me as a person." So you have to understand that that in itself is very powerful.
The sentimental culture you consume has been shaped to keep you docile, expecting emotional rewards instead of building real power, expecting the other person to stay out of love instead of understanding that people stay because they need to, not because they feel it. That's why when you stop pleasing, helping, or serving, some people disappear, because the truth that no one wants to tell is that the bond that sustains human relationships is rarely emotional, it's functional. The lack of loyalty you felt in your skin was not a moral failing on the other person's part. It was a strategic failure on your part. And here is the contradiction that hurts the most. The more you give yourself expecting unconditional affection, the more you feed a structure of dependency that makes you invisible as soon as the value is exhausted. The loyalty you expect is not a debt, it is an illusion. But there is another path. A path where you do not beg for permanence, but build presence based on something no one dares to give up. Power. You are not loved, you are needed, and that changes everything. What keeps you in relationships is not the intensity of what they feel for you, but the intensity of what you offer. Human beings are, by nature, social strategists. They stay where there is an advantage, even if unconsciously. The idea that people stay because they like you is a half-truth, and half-truths are the most effective lies.
Understand that people don't like you. People like what you do for them. People like how you make them feel. They don't like you as the individual. They like what you can do for them to make them feel good. So if you make them feel good by your presence, what you say, the impact you have, well, then in exchange they will like you. But let's say you didn't have these things, would they still truly like you the same way they say they do like you? Let that sink in for a little bit.
Think about any social group. In high school, the popular kids were surrounded by people not because they were nice, but because they were socially valuable. They validated, they influenced, they opened doors. In the adult world, the standard only gets more refined. Access, status, contacts, decision-making power. When you become a bridge to something people want, be it security, connection, visibility, or resources, you become indispensable. But when that value is exhausted or is surpassed by another source, you become obsolete. And like any tool that no longer serves you, you are discarded. Philosopher Ayn Rand once said that friendship is the expression of shared values. But the truth is even more stark. Friendship is often the expression of compatible interests. That's why we see unshakable alliances between tycoons, politicians, and artists who can barely stand each other but stick together for a greater good. Mutual influence. And it's also why decades-long friendships evaporate when one side loses power. There are plenty of examples. Think of celebrities who have fallen from public disgrace. All it takes is a scandal, a loss of status, or a bankruptcy for their loyal circles to disappear. The silence of those who once applauded you is deafening. Where are the unconditional hugs now? They didn't disappear out of malice. They did.
I said nothing is unconditional. Everything is transactional. So anything that any relationship that you have is what you give. It's for you always expect something in return, right? So any relationship you have, you just have to pay attention and say, okay, what am I giving to this person? Or what is this person giving to me? That's how we think. It's not a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing. We don't see it straightforward like that, but that's what it is. It's always what am I giving to so I could get something out of this. So that's how it is. Nothing is unconditional. I don't truly believe in that at all.
Disappeared because the equation changed. You're no longer useful, and no one stays where there's no game. Robert Greene in the 48 Laws of Power reminds us that it is dangerous to appear worthless. When you fail to generate emotional, social, or strategic returns, you lose ground in people's collective unconscious. Human beings do not abandon others out of malice, they abandon others out of logic. That is why Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." The fear he refers to is not the fear of aggression, but the fear of losing access to your value. Those who are too useful, without being scarce, are taken for granted. Those who are scarce and valuable are venerated. Now stop and think, what is your real value in the lives of those around you? What do you offer that no one else can deliver? The mistake is not in wanting to be liked. The mistake is in thinking that being liked is enough. There is also another trap, that of disguising need as kindness. Do you know someone who does everything for others and is always ignored? This happens because excessive giving, without strategic positioning, conveys low value. People
Always being there. No matter any relationship it is, if you always there, you're always there. You're not never absent. Like, how can people truly value you if you're always there? Yes, you can always do something for somebody. Say, well, but I did that for that for you. But every time, there's not one time when you say, well, I can't do it today. There's not one day you could call out and say, no, not today. I can't do it. I can't give that. Sorry, I'm busy. Like none of that. People don't value that. And people value the things they cannot truly have all the time. That's just human nature for you.
do not respect what is always available. They respect
Absolutely.
what is necessary and rare. Want an example? A diamond is not respected because it is beautiful. It is respected because it is valuable and scarce. Human relationships follow the same logic. And don't mistake this for coldness. We are not talking about manipulating or exploiting. We are talking about playing the game consciously. Understanding that real bonds are formed where there is mutual value, not one-sided expectation. The loyalty you seek is not a gift. It is a response to perceived usefulness. So the secret is not to ask for permanence. It is to make yourself impossible to replace. And if you are now thinking, so I need to be someone who always delivers? The answer is yes, but not in the way you were taught. You do not need to be a constant supplier. You need to be a unique source. When you occupy a place that no one else occupies, when your presence generates emotional, intellectual, or social impact, people fear your absence. And the fear of losing is more powerful than the desire to have. If the world revolves around usefulness, then the most powerful question you can ask yourself is, how do I become irreplaceable? It's not enough to be good, kind, or present. These are common qualities, and the common is easily exchanged. What makes you someone no one wants to lose is the ability to deliver something that almost no one else can or has the courage to deliver. The first strategy is to understand the principle of selective scarcity. The mistake of those who seek acceptance is to offer everything, all the time. But respect is born from the combination of value and limits.
Having an understanding of that is very important. You always trying to be accepted by people will never truly bring you happiness. It will never put you in a place of in a place where you could win, in a place of where people or where you could inspire people. It will put you in a place of desperation, you know, constantly looking for the validation of others instead of validating yourself so you can know your worth and understand who you are and understand the value that you bring to other people and how important that value is. So don't look for approval from people. Do what you need to do so people could seek the approval from you.
When you give too much without criteria, people consume you as an abundant resource. But when you deliver intelligently, at key moments, strategically, you become a presence that makes an impact. And the human brain values what it is afraid of losing more than what is always available. Benjamin Franklin applied this brilliantly. He realized that by asking small favors from someone who despised him, he was able to reverse the relationship. Why? Because by doing something for you, the person begins to value you more to justify their own action. This is the effect of reciprocal utility. When someone feels that they contribute to your success, they bond with you emotionally and rationally. In other words, the value you offer doesn't have to be explicit. It can be the feeling that the other person grows alongside you. Another powerful weapon is mastering social narrative. You may be forgotten if you are merely functional, but you will never be ignored if you are memorable. This involves positioning, language, symbolism. You may not be the richest or the most influential, but if you represent something rare, confidence, clarity, provocation, excellence, you become a reference figure. And
Absolutely.
reference figures are hard to dismiss. But most importantly, stop seeking bonds based on unconditional love. Start building relationships based on unconditional value. This means investing in people who also give you power, vision, access, strength. Relationships where both of you grow and know it. The exchange needs to be clear. And this clarity doesn't destroy the connection. It solidifies it. Do you want to be remembered? Make people feel like they gain something every time you walk into the room. Want to be respected? Show without saying that your absence would cost you. Want to be
Absolutely.
indispensable? Stop being predictable. Be scarce, strategic, and valuable. Because in the end, people don't want to lose the people they love. They don't want to lose the people they need. And the big turning point happens when you stop trying to be loved and start being impossible to replace.
I actually, we could learn a lot from this, piece of content we just consumed. Such a lovely breakdown, how to speak on it. Like we could learn, me personally, I definitely learned a lot from it. Hope you could too as well. That's the end of the video. If you like the video, leave a like, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.